All right, room tone.
Whenever you say room tone, it's like Andy's coming, and then I just like freeze and I can't move. Okay. Gotta make sure there's no sound from you.
Good man, good man, good man. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Ross and Wizzy's Fan Fiction Power Hour. I'm your host, Ross Pitt, Shark Hunter. God damn it, I said Shark Hunter again. Old habits die hard. And here with me today is Wizzy Puff.
I'm here with Ross, not the Shark Hunter.
Indeed he is. Everybody, it's been a good long ride. We're at 112 episodes. Do you know how many fucking words that is that we've read on this podcast?
Probably more than I've read prior to this podcast in my life.
Same here.
Woo!
And it still pales in comparison to the amount of words in Worm. It is so long. So for those of you who haven't seen the Sunlight Slide or listened to the Sunlight Sliders episodes, last week I was just gushing about Worm by Wildbow, which is great, but seriously, guys, listen to the warnings that they give if you ever decide to pick up Worm by Wildbow.
How long
there are
actually
warnings
is it?
on the website. Oh,
like word count? Worm count?
Worm count, I have thought about that. Worm word count. For just Worm, it is approximately 1,682,400 words long. And actually, I was going to send this to you after the episode, but I guess I did set this up perfectly for you, Wizzy. This is a little like screen grab from Wikipedia or something maybe that I got from Reddit.
Boy.
It shows a bunch of different like series that are like super long and the length of them. As you can see, the Rift War cycle is very long. And now the funny thing is... Yeah, Discworld is in there. You could see all the little like color changes in there, featuring all those different little like all the different books in the series. And there's just one big old long blue line. And that's just Worm.
Oh my god.
That is how it is in the like nearly in the dead center of this entire thing. And it's just one book compared to all of these other series long stuff.
You know what that one long blue line represents? A worm.
Patriotism. Oh. So yeah, I thought...
How did I not even think about that when I said that?
I don't know. Anyways, yep, I thought that was just something really funny about Worm. Oh yeah, the other funny thing is that's only half of Worm now, because that screenshot was taken before the sequel came out.
Yay!
The sequel is called Ward, by the way, and I think it might be slightly longer or slightly shorter. I do not know. I tried to look it up, but it doesn't... I'll be honest, scouring this stuff without any spoilers is kind of dangerous, so I did not look it up for long.
You can't find the ward count.
I cannot. No, I can't. Anyways, that's been my obsession for the week. I'm sorry, did I say week? The last month. Half a month, but...
That's a good while.
By the time I finish Ward, it will be the last month. Oh, man. Obsessions, they take you.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Well, I've actually been up to playing a lot of Splatoon.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
How's that been going?
It's been going all right. Once you become the best at it, it kind of gets lonely.
I see.
Which I guess Twilight would probably know something about that, being the most powerful immortal in the world.
Speaking of Twilight!
Yeah?
The Celestia Code by Esau.
One of my favorite Twilights.
Yes, it's a very good Twilight, actually, yeah. Yeah, well, we're going to be reading more of this today. And I cannot wait, obviously, because I love the Celestia Code by Esau, and last time it ended on, last time we read this, let's see here, Twilight got freaked out about what, some people might be able to do with the books that she found, so she burned them all. Classical book burning. And then...
Yeah, that'll really get rid of the tyrant accusations.
Yeah, definitely. And then, what's her name? Jigsaw comforted her. And then, what's their names? Ciceresia and Kishari came back. And Twilight and Kishari had a grand old talk together.
What is their actual name? I can't find it.
It's like Kashari or something like that. It's Csharreee.
Kashari.
Actually, that might just be Twilight's way of saying it. I just realized that I stopped that on a... Oh no. Yep, it is. It is 3 E's. Kashari.
Oh, yeah.
I suppose it's probably meant to be sounded like that.
I see it.
Yeah.
Kashari.
Tee-hee. All right, let's get into it. Chapter 17. Filling in the gaps. The next morning, all my scheduling was thrown into disarray when I woke up to the sound of Ciceresia screaming in horror. Sometimes I wonder why I even bother making plans. "My leg!" Ciceresia shouted. "My leg!" I scrambled up and stared at her, shaking with an adrenaline rush. I hadn't separated us with a shield before going to sleep. The changelings had been even more shocked at that than they had been to discover they'd actually gotten nourishment from Jigsaw and I without noticing. The general had gotten to the heart of the matter with her usual directness. "Why?" "Because friends trust each other," I said. "And because I'm taking a calculated risk," I did not say out loud. With all the possible ways my choice could have gone wrong, it was pretty surprising I had slept as soundly as I had. Maybe it was Jigsaw humming a bit of the heartwarming carol, just as I was drifting off. "The fire of friendship lives in our hearts." Of course, the rude awakening to panicky yelling wasn't the best capper to a restful slumber I could ask for. Ciceresia was staring down at her own legs in horror, skittering around like she was trying to shake them off. It was weird, because I couldn't see anything wrong with them. They were smooth and whole and... Oh, wait. Whole. Not whole or holes. There weren't any. Holes, I mean. The general's legs no longer had the decayed-looking gaps in them that seemed to be a common feature of the changelings. A quick glance at her wings told me they were also whole.
"Ciceresia, stop!"
Jigsaw said, rushing forward and taking hold of her shoulders. The general's head jerked up, her eyes still wild with fear, but she stopped dancing around.
"Are you in pain?"
I... No. Her breathing began to slow. "It doesn't hurt, but look at them." Jigsaw glanced down.
Nice.
Damn it. She said.
"Long, strong, very nice, actually."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those legs go on for days.
What? Celestia stopped moving and stared at Jigsaw. This isn't funny. Jigsaw nodded.
No, you're right. It isn't. But it might not be a bad thing either.
I had looked over Kashari, and she seemed perfectly normal. Well, normal for a changeling, that is. General, I asked, may I examine you? I might be able to... Did you do this? Celestia whirled on me, pulling out of Jigsaw's grip. She lunged forward horn first and pulled up at the last instant. I hadn't moved. I could have stopped her with a tiny fraction of my power. I'm so powerful. You ever wonder if Twilight's an unreliable narrator?
That's true. This is her narrating the entire story, so...
Yep.
You know, history is told by the victors.
Yeah, so for all we know, Celestia really is a warmongering tyrant.
Yo, that would be the craziest twist.
That would be wild. What if we get, like, the final chapter is from Jigsaw's point of view, and it's telling the actual story?
She was like a slave to Twilight this whole time.
Oh, that would be messed up, and I would be here for it. Maybe not, but...
I don't think it would work, though, because they do have the whole sequel with, like, the Luna cipher.
Yeah, but that's not on FimFiction anymore, so...
Well, he was just up there.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Trust me, click on it, it'll take you to the derpy page where it can't be found.
What the heck?
Don't worry, it's on FimFetch.
Okay.
Anyways, I could have stopped her with a tiny fraction of my power, but I let her make her own decision. She had made the right one. May I? I asked again, quietly. Her jaw muscles tightened and she nodded. I prodded her with my magic. The lack of holes wasn't an illusion. The changes were real and physical. Her chitinous hide seemed softer and more pliable as well, and her horn, while still not straight, was merely wavy instead of jagged. I considered for a moment. Kashari, would you stand next to the general, please? Put one of your hooves next to her. Put one of your hooves next to one of hers. The captain was obviously a bit wigged out by the whole thing. She had even carefully checked her own limbs for signs of change, as I had examined the general. She walked stiffly forward and lowered her hoof to the floor, taking care not to actually touch her superior officer, as if the lack of preparations might be catching. You know what I just realized? Didn't even check the microphone. Oh well, it's recording at least. I can at the very least see that it is not it's moving.
Ross, it's
So that's
peaking
good.
with each word you say.
It's all right. You can fix that. Well, Tom Hanks can fix that, I'm sure.
He can do anything.
Yeah. As if the lack of perforations might be catching. Yes, I said. There's a color change as well. You're now a dark charcoal gray instead of jet black. Why is this happening? The general asked. And what exactly is happening? Why am I changing like this?
I thought they had, like, complete control over their forms.
No. Actually, they don't, weirdly enough. Like, they can change into forms and such, but not their regular forms, I guess. It's still kind of dictated by... Ironically, this was before the whole thing with thorax and all that. But yeah, they all just kind of changed randomly, I guess.
Oh. Huh.
They, like, didn't really mean for that to happen as far as I can recall, so... They don't really have control over their forms, although I guess technically they can, because it just depends on the attitude you bring to it, man. Because Thorax's brother, he had still been like one one of those creepy little fucker changelings, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Is this like,
yeah.
Penny on Tawag?
Maybe.
I was thinking like it's sort of like tied to their emotions.
Not really. It's a bit difficult to explain, I would say. So I'm going to say I can't actually explain it.
Is it inconsistent?
Not really.
Okay.
I just don't know how to explain it. It's like... maybe it just ties into worldview instead.
Makes sense. It's like Steven on Steven Universe.
Yeah. Sure, let's go with that. No neck. Why am I changing like this? I turned my snort of laughter at a changeling asking why she was changing into a clearing my throat noise. That's something else we should check. Can you try changing into somebody else, please? She managed it, but only barely, and it took her much longer than it should have.
So she can change at will?
Yes, but it took her much longer than she should have.
Man, one of these days, in one of these days, like 2030, Ross and me binge this whole show, and I'm finally going to understand these characters.
That'll be fun.
Still,
Jigsaw said, no doubt trying to lighten the situation.
great legs.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. I ship them.
But also the changing of the form is just the changing that she's doing right here is different from like their own form, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like
they actually have to try and change into different things, but it's sort of like their resting state.
Yeah. It's base changeling, I suppose. That's what I'm gonna call it. Which is changing, which is not what's supposed to happen to them, apparently.
Yeah, it happened at Twilight. Ba-da-ba.
Yeah, but that was an act of God. Ciceressia had taken on the form of a tall, willowy unicorn mare. She looked down at herself and hissed in dismay. This is not the body I was trying for. I made another mental note and then said, Okay, you can change back now. The word I should have used was may instead of can, because the general nearly couldn't. It took her almost 30 seconds, and she was back at the edge of panic before she finally managed it. Her changeling form still lacked holes. Take a few deep breaths, I told her. Then tell me what you were actually trying for. Maybe there's a reason you were forced into that form. Who was it you were copying? I don't know, the general hissed through her teeth. I've never seen a pony that looked like that. I turned to Jigsaw. Maybe a fantasy mare of yours that she intuited somehow? I was almost certain that changelings weren't capable of telepathy. Jigsaw said, a blush coming to her cheeks.
Actually, she spent a good bit of the day yesterday looking like Countess Coloratura.
Oh,
wait, hold the phone.
Stop, making your wife change into different people for you, Jigsaw.
Your wife?
Yeah, I'm gonna call her wife. I ship them that much.
But also, this is later than I thought. When did this chapter come out? Hold on.
Can you check?
That was season...
Oh.
Coloratura was season, I don't know, something.
Yeah, 2014. It seems like.
Okay, the main attraction, which is where Coloratura first is from, came out on November 21st, 2015, which is a day before my birthday. So, yeah, this was edited. What the hell was she trying to make her look like?
Wait, this was edited?
Previously. this had to have been edited.
Really?
If this chapter came out in 2014 initially, and the main attraction came out in 2015, then there's nothing else. There's no other option. This is insane.
Jeez.
It's like, what? Anyways. Oh. Okay, not thinking about that. I shook my head. Well, I can't figure it out exactly, but I'm betting it's connected with the feeding phenomenon we noted last evening. Maybe friendship?
But
Kshari interrupted me.
I, too, was nourished by your friendship. And I am unaffected.
She briefly flashed into a copy of Jigsaw to demonstrate.
Well,
Jigsaw said, her blush deepening.
Unless you and Twilight were doing a different sort of multiplying than I thought you were.
Whoa.
Ho-ho-ho. Celestia and I were being quite a bit more friendly.
They were fucking.
They were doing more than that. They were getting up to some kinky stuff.
Oh, what kinks would Jigsaw have? Let's think about that.
I have, actually.
Okay. That's nice to know. So you should be an expert. What kinks would Jigsaw have, Wizzy?
Horseplay.
That wasn't that great an episode, but alright.
Oh, of course, that's the name of an episode.
Yeah. It's about Celestia and wanting to become an actress because she's old and crazy.
But she's so bad at acting.
She is. That's the point of the episode.
Yeah, I remember there was like one scene that I saw before where it was like Twilight made her cry because she's like, she can't act. She's so bad, guys. Help me.
Oh, we did talk about that episode before. Wow.
Yeah.
Wonder if it was in the last Celestia Code. That would have been funny.
Yeah.
People binging the Celestia Code episodes. That's so annoying now.
I want to do that at some point. Just binge through all of it and see the weird changes that we have per episode. Because it's almost like, it's 3.5 years now that we've been doing Celestia Code.
Yep, pretty much. Well, 3.5 years for you. I was apparently launched into the future.
Is that a plot point?
Yeah, that's a plot point. Well, I wasn't launched into the future. I think I was stuck in limbo or something. I can't remember what I said. What we said.
Gotta write all this down in a journal somewhere.
This will be on the test, guys. Continuing not to think about that, I came up with a suggestion. Celestia. Both General and Jigsaw looked a bit startled that I'd called the changeling by name. I can't be sure that whatever has happened to you won't continue to progress if you remain in Jigsaw's company. Maybe you should return to your hive. Get the fuck out. She hesitated and pawed at the ground uncertainly. No, she finally said. I have my orders. She glanced up at Jigsaw briefly. And I do not want to leave. Not yet. Perhaps Kshari could carry a message to the hive? I suggested. Queen Chrysalis may have some knowledge about this phenomenon.
But what about algebra?
The captain protested.
Aww.
Oh, she likes math.
That's actually like the cutest, the cutest like romance line in this so far, I think.
It's really cute.
She's really enjoying their time.
I wasn't shipping the two. Like, maybe friendshipping at best, but now I am shipping the two. Wow. Yeah, I can safely say that I do not like Twisaw now.
Oh.
Because I want these two other ships to happen way more. Just way more.
That's how good the writing is. It makes
They're
you
so
really go
much
along
better.
with whatever they're writing at the moment.
Yeah. The captain protested. I couldn't help grinning. Algebra will still be here when you get back, I reassured her. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I set Cesaresia and Jigsaw to searching the ruins again, with me for a chaperone. I'd pick out an area for them to go through and then settle down to work on my calculations. Thanks to the magic of multitasking, I was catching up on my original schedule. Since they could concentrate on the job instead of each other, Jigsaw and the General even found a few books. I destroyed the first two when the General wasn't looking. I might have been much calmer than the night of the bonfire, but I still felt my decision was sound, appalling, and very possibly evil, but sound. Evil. Would I consider it evil? Yes, it is evil.
Would you consider it evil to destroy the plans for the nuclear bomb before they were used and created?
Well, that's a whole different topic. Because the plans for the nuclear bomb before they were created, those were happening at the time. You know, this is well after these have been created. These are historical documents.
Yeah, and they were never actually brought to fruition. So if they just, like, she just, like, gives them to Celestia, and then Celestia keeps them in a bubble forever.
Yep.
They could just be viewed historically.
Only for it to be popped 10,000 years later by SpongeBob. It was Patrick that popped it, wasn't it?
I think they both
Camera. Did. No, I think Patrick took the snapshot and then it popped.
That is true, but I never really thought of that as what caused it to pop.
I don't think it was, but I mean, maybe it was. I don't know. Just very huge coincidence.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, I think it would be more likely that Sombra's the one who pops it, and then he's like, "Give me the heart of Celestia, please." And it's like, "Are you sure? She's been dead for quite a while."
Oh.
And he's like, "But this is what I wanted it for. This was the whole point of my machine."
The third book was another ledger. It was most likely safe, so I could hit it with a conservation spell instead of crumbling it to dust. It was very like the first one I had found, except it had been kept by some pony who was interested in more than just names and figures. And so I learned what the phrase "debt forgiven" meant. It meant death. In a society that stole everything physical it needed, what could it possibly use for currency? Turns out it was magic. Not just spells, but pure magical energy. Each citizen owned a certain amount of it to feed the dark crystal, and so it could be used as a medium of trade. Unicorns who fell into debt, who had in no way to repay what they owed, were drained completely. I silently raised my disdain for their whole racist culture another few notches, and made the book fall to ashes. Then I picked up my notebook and went back to calculating how to destroy the last great artifact of their civilization. Okay, look, man, this really is reminding me a lot of Worm. And I can't say why. But if I'm correct in what this is trying to convey, that it's really reminiscent of a lot of, like, the themes and shit of Worm.
Would you say you've got worm on your brain, or you've got brainworms?
I would say that, yes. Yes, I do.
Nice.
Speaking of do. The answer was appalling. I went back and did a quick recheck of my methodology and found nothing wrong. Then I did a very rough estimate using an alternative method and found the original answer well within the new margin of error. The dark crystal held so much energy that releasing it all at once would make my little meteor strike look like a wet firecracker.
My little meteor strike.
Aww.
It's like My Little Pony.
Yeah. I thought about burning it all away by looping something heavy through the cornucopia, like tons of sand or boulders, but whatever I chose to teleport would need to be removed from the pedestal before it could be used again. A few quick calculations told me that it would take 17 months to deplete the dark magic by that method, and that was only if I could keep shifting tons of material 24 hours a day. There had to be a better way. Before I had any more time to think about the problem, another one arrived. The royal majesty of the changelings herself, Kashari. Kashari followed in her wake, looking even more jittery than on the night I'd caught the general and Jigsaw together. I carefully tucked my notebook away before rising and bowing to Chrysalis. Your Majesty. Your Majesty, I said in a casual tone. She nodded to me, but she was looking at Celestia.
Princess?
She replied distractedly. The general dropped what she was doing and approached her queen. Before she could bow or offer an obeisance, Chrysalis grabbed one of her forehooves in her magic and pulled it up to examine it. She dropped it and then circled the general, examining her in minute detail, her horn flashing to life occasionally. I just imagine she's like sniffing her
Yeah,
dog.
that's exactly what I was picturing.
She stopped when she was in front of the general again and pointed to Jigsaw.
That is the pony you have been associating with?
Yes, Your Majesty.
Tell me everything about your relationship.
Oof. Oh, no. Oh. Oof. It's one thing to tell your parents, but to tell your mom, who's also your queen, about
God.
who you're forking? Jesus. She commanded sternly.
Hey!
Jigsaw protested.
I'm standing right here, you know. You can leave if you wish.
Chrysalis said, still locking eyes with the general. Jigsaw stomped to the corner of the building and then stopped and looked back at me.
Aren't you coming, Twilight?
Under different circumstances, I wouldn't have wanted to hear details of what went on between Jigsaw and her changeling friend. No, actually, even then, I didn't want to hear them, but I felt I needed to. I have to stay, Jigsaw. This could be very... Jigsaw fled without saying anything. I'm pretty sure she was crying.
Oh, God.
Diplomacy, am I right?
You know that Twilight wants to hear this. No,
I
actually, I
don't
feel
know.
like it would be the other way around in this fic. It'd be like Jigsaw staying just to listen to Twilight's habits.
It does sound like a very Jigsaw thing to do. Another very evil character.
Okay, she's just flawed.
She is evil.
I hope so.
She regularly uses slurs. She
uses specific to her own race slurs.
There were also those other things that we thought about her. She doesn't like Twilight's good friend Daring Do. Albeit she doesn't know that Daring Do is a real person.
That part is fair. I actually really do hope she ends up having a villain turn in this.
Me too. I've been saying it since like episode 2. It would be fun. I don't know.
That's gonna be the biggest disappointment in this. We get ourselves so
Yeah.
hyped up for it.
I don't think there's much left in the story to actually make a satisfying villain turn for her. Just set up for a sequel, if that. So
maybe they get to their treasure and then she's just like, no, I'm taking it. That's it.
And then she gets killed like in Indiana Jones trap.
But if she gets all the dark magic to like control for herself, then she's gonna be more powerful than even Twilight.
But what if that dark magic like consumes her and she explodes?
Oh, I hope that's how it ends.
That would be so awesome.
She like tries to take it for herself because she's so selfish, and it completely backfires.
Yeah, so really like an Indiana Jones thing.
Is that actually happening to Indiana Jones?
Yeah, watch Last Crusade, my dude.
No, not anymore. I don't want to.
But Last Crusade is so good. It's like the best one.
But it sounds so sad.
It's not that sad.
Okay.
If you're wondering, there were 2 Indiana Jones films after that one. So it wasn't really The Last Crusade. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure the guy was affiliated with the Nazis in some way, so...
Man.
Spoilers.
Well, I do know that they fight Nazis in Indiana Jones.
Okay, good.
And no one complained about wokeness then!
You've been reading my tweets, haven't you?
No, I have not, but that sounds like something that Wait, what do I mean I have not? I have been reading your tweets, but I wasn't thinking about your tweets when I said that, but I almost certainly read that tweet.
That was exactly what I said. No, it wasn't, but it was close. Same message, at least. So anyways, the Queen's questioning was very thorough and very embarrassing. It was also very enlightening. As far as I could tell, if it was love that had fed the general, it wasn't based on any sort of deception. From what she said, it was much more likely that it was plain old camaraderie. A budding friendship that had wrought the change in her.
Friendship, yeah.
Wink. Chrysalis shook her head angrily.
What's the difference? Love of any kind feeds us, no matter how we get it. Why should it do this?
It came to me in a sudden flash of insight. It's all the difference in the world, I went on as she turned her angry glare at me. Without the exact ingredients, magic won't work properly, and a crucial part of friendship, true friendship, is honesty. Your people's way of deception can only take the most basic sustenance from the ponies they deceive, with open and knowing consent. The love of a friend isn't nourishing, it's transformative. Okay, so maybe I was waxing hyperbolic there, but I get excited when I'm on the trail of a new discovery. I expected a reaction, but I had no idea my words could literally stagger her.
I could be...
She regained her balance and looked away from me as stopped speaking. Esau.
First, you forget the
silly
end
little
quotation mark
goof.
from her whole speech. And now this.
Actually, I think first they misspelled it.
How do you misspell it?
I don't know. I don't even know if it was it, but it was a very short word that they misspelled in like the first episode, and we got on their ass for it.
Oh
It
man.
was very funny. Great first episode of this stuff.
I knock
Whole
1 star off for
thing.
each typo.
Yeah.
I do have to question
Mrs.
though.
Puff.
She's talking about it like friendship is so great, but this is like obviously more than friendship. There's like romantic falling in love type stuff that's happening with Celestia and Jigsaw.
Do we actually know that for a fact?
Okay.
Like, as it's said, according to the general at least, to the general, it's not really that.
I thought that when they're like, oh, it's not much, they're just like playing it off, you know, like the trope. And it's like, but really, they have deep feelings. Because, like, they've been talking about each other and just like falling in love basically this whole time. And then sexing
Maybe they are just good friends, though. Let's not discount that friends with benefits is a thing. And frankly,
sure.
We should not look down on people like that. And in fact, I think there needs to be more representation of that in media.
But with
preferably off screen, but still.
With the scenes talking about, like, the sexy legs and stuff.
I do think that Jigsaw definitely has a thing for her, but that's not the point.
Yeah, I guess it just seems like it's a romantic thing to me. I don't think you could call this friendship right now, Twilight. It looks...
I think you could, because they haven't said it was anything but... Actually, they haven't even said it was friendship, so let's not even call it that.
But from a scientific view, this is more than friendship. You can't get this kind of results, this kind of love, from just friendship. I don't think you can.
Tell that to the asexual community. Anyways.
Ace Twilight representation. I dig it.
Where were we? Right. Chrysalis was all like, I could be. And then I was probably said a bit of this. She regained her balance and looked away from me as stopped speaking. Her last words were so quiet that I couldn't be anything like certain. But I thought they were...
beautiful again.
I beg your pardon, Your Majesty?
Nothing.
She hissed. She waved Kashari forward and snapped.
Rejoin the ponies and do not leave them again. Do whatever the princess commands of you. I will send 2 drones to bear messages if necessary, and will visit each morning in person.
She caught herself as if something had suddenly occurred to her and turned to me.
Does that suit you, Your Highness?
So, like, are they kicking them out of the hive? Is that what's happening? Yeah, she said, don't ever return again. Or something like that. Frankly, weirdly enough, I can't find
rejoin the princesses and
right
do
now.
not leave them again. I think she is implying just until the mission's over.
Yeah. I mean, probably, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What would have suited me right then would have been a giant crystal-sized garbage can and 2 first-class airship tickets to Canterlot. But I learned long ago to work with what I had to hoof. That's fine, Your Majesty, but I would ask one more thing of you.
Yes?
She asked warily. We are here among our trusted inner circles, and there's no need to be formal. Would you please call me Twilight Sparkle? Blink, 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 blink. I half expected her to protest, and she hesitated for a good while, but she finally said,
I will do that, Twilight Sparkle. And I ask that you call me Chrysalis, as long as there are no peasants or drones present.
Well, that's nice. Work with what you have to hoof, Sparkle. Of course, Chrysalis. I
said when there are no drones present. Did you not see?
Jesus Christ. Alright, that's it. You have piqued my headphones too much. Young man, I'm turning you down.
No. I don't know how that's even possible.
It hurt. I nodded happily. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. We returned to the library, and I took a few sheets of paper and drew up a review quiz and worksheet to keep Kashari busy. Then I touched the magic trace to locate Jigsaw. She was out by the edge of the mesa, near where we had watched the meteor hit. She's still pretty angry, so I don't think we should gang up on her, I told Celestia. Just one of you go to her now. Go get him, Ray. Celestia nodded. It should be me. I hope I can convince her to forgive me. I'm sure you can. Evil Jigsaw arc.
Yeah.
She made as if to go and then stopped. I don't mind admitting that I am afraid. Of losing her friendship? I asked. Or of changing more? Ciceresia laughed. Both, I suppose. See, it's a budding romance.
I just thought that the
getting
sex
there.
would
It's
usually come after the romance is budded, but, you know, I don't judge.
Wizzy.
I'm old-fashioned, I guess.
We've had sex so many times.
And
we are still just friends. Despite my protests. Oops.
not one of those times was there ever as much meaning behind it as in with these two, you know?
I don't know. I think we're looking at this from a strictly speaking Twilight Sparkle perspective. And Twilight romanticizes the world far more than either of us.
I don't believe that for a second. I don't think
Me
she
neither.
has that kind of imagination.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Well, I said, seeing as how those two might be mutually exclusive, you're going to face your fear. You're going to have to face your fear. One of them, at least. She nodded. Of all the things I had thought to faith in the service of my queen. Life's like that sometimes, I said. In fact, life's like that a lot. I walked out of the library with Ciceresia and watched as she tested her changed wings. They don't work as well, she grumbled. No holes and they're less functional?
Hey, it turns out the holes were for aerodynamics.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They were very specially placed.
Ugh. And changelings are like bugs. God, this is so much like Worm.
Yo! Are there bugs in Worm?
There are a lot of bugs in Worm.
I would not have guessed it from the title.
No, you wouldn't have, which is why I'm explaining it to you. Actually, weirdly enough, the title doesn't have anything to do with bugs.
Aw, has to do with computer worms.
I can't remember the explanation, but it wasn't for bugs, despite the fact that that's the main character's power, is controlling bugs. There, I spoiled Worm. The main character has bug-controlling powers.
It's just like the character in Naruto, or the character in Boku no Hero Academia.
Really?
There's a couple of characters in those who can control bugs. Or,
Yeah,
I guess,
checks
talk
out.
to bugs and command them, like Aquaman, sort of.
Yeah, it's basically like the main character in Worm, so yeah.
It's a really cool
Interesting.
ability.
If it helps, I told her. I promise to use any powers at my command to help you through whatever changes you're going through. It didn't sound very reassuring, even to me. Thank you, Twilight Sparkle. She wobbled away into the sky.
Wobbled away into the sky.
Those were just the perfect words to end that chapter with. In fact, I hope those words end this story whenever we get around to that.
This is the last we ever see of Ciceresia. She wobbled away into the sky.
That was chapter 17, Filling in the Gaps. What a chapter. I don't know what it is. I think the writing, though, has taken a bit of a dip. Maybe I'm going insane. I don't know. I still like the characters. I still like the exchanges they're making. I think that's all great. But I think that the sentences with which Twilight is conveying the story here is a bit wonky now.
It happens. Sometimes you're writing for a while and then you get like kind of a writer's block and force a chapter. I bet it gets better in the next one.
Oh, almost certainly. I'm sure that Esau will not disappoint.
Cut to the next one. Oh, God! It was even worse! They actually described the sex!
Do it, you coward, Esau. I dare you.
Come on, the lost chapter where it's just Ciceresia explaining what her and Jigsaw get up to.
All right, so everybody, we have decided that this will just be a one-chapter episode. That's right, that is probably the lowest amount of words we've ever read for a single episode.
I think there was one of the first ones maybe shorter.
2,735.
Yeah,
Shorter than that.
Short. Man.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I hope that our like sidetracked stories really end up entertaining.
Yeah. I was like, man, a lot of this is probably gonna get cut. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't cut that much. It's only been an hour and 9 minutes.
I'll try and cut it down to no less than 50 minutes.
I just edited like one that was an hour and 30 minutes long, and I cut it down to like 45 minutes. So, guys, I cannot tell you how many tangents happened to the Bluey episode.
I didn't even remember that.
Oh my god, so many tangents.
I gotta listen to that episode, see how it's turned out.
It's pretty good, I would say. But yeah, so that was still pretty great. I am still interested to see where it goes from here. Good stuff. Esau, keep up the good work. Don't let me down next time.
I want a whole chapter that's like Kashari and Twilight going on a cute little date.
Oh, that would be so cute. Let's go. Please, Esau.
Public boundaries level of romance, please.
Don't pull a Wildbow and just ruin all of my ships, god damn it.
What did Wildbow do? Just like kill off your favorite characters in Worm?
I'm not gonna say what happens, but...
Aw, yeah.
Yeah, let's just say stuff happens in it. God damn you, Wildbow. So yeah. Good job. That's all I got to say, I guess.
See ya! That was perfect. Same time.
Yeah, sure it was. No, wait. Did I finish the recap? I think I did. Yeah, Twilight and Kashari bonded,
Yeah.
and... Was there a cliffhanger, maybe? Let's see if there was a cliffhanger. There was not a cliffhanger.
Oh, that's right.
Twilight just did not want to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Out of fear of the nightmares that happened last night because she burned books or something. Really, Twilight's an awful person. But not as awful as everybody from Worm. Alright, let's get to reading.